where you come out of,
On Bill.
yeah, right on the rest, all that through there, depending on where you're at through there. You're either in Hope or Pioneer Village. It's all the same. Yeah, all that stuff that's in front of the rock quarry now, the businesses under there, it's all in Iowa Village, right? Yeah. I would still go talk to those everything, because they got police departments too. They can write letters and make it more successful.
You know, maybe just as good to get with those cities, maybe they could talk to the law enforcement, they're bound to have sweet people there. They can go out there occasionally. They don't have facilities there to get them.
We'll be back in contact with you. Very, very soon. Hey, Carly. Hello. Did I pronounce it right? Hello. Carly's gonna talk about Christmas tree golf. That time of year. Good morning, Good morning, Carly.
I started last year with my dad around the same time, and we have opened a transfer station in Mount Washington over off Ranch Road. And last year we did a pre-Christmas tree recycle for the county where anyone could bring in their old Christmas trees as long as there's no decorations or anything like that. And we recycle them for free for you guys, meaning we can ship them into Richmond and you can simply leave them with us. But since we are a company and we haven't been open that long, we were hoping that the county would be willing to help with the ad that we put in the Pioneer last year, something just like this. Just letting everyone know in the county that we are doing it, and I think it's a great thing for everyone to start recycling. All it's going to do is just take up more space into the landfill, and that they can come there and recycle for free. Does anyone have any questions? So if you all could just let me know.
We did the same thing last year, didn't we?
Yes, they did, yes. Went over, it was pretty good.
Are you asking questions of the fund we had?
Yes, just funding that for the county.
Remember how much it was?
I think it was around $900.
Yes, I'm up there.
What, did you get those flyers like you had?
No, I cut this out. I had it printed in the Pioneer. I just cut this part out that we had. So,
Is that what you're talking about, was $900 was an ad in the time?
yes, ma'am. Well, Santa sent Mayor from Pioneer. He was maybe doing it tonight.
You can't shoot it.
And not be Scrooge.
Someone wishes to talk to us, we might be able to assist, like we've always assisted Mr. Hatfield.
Would y'all like me to get with Mr. Byer and get a little quote, bring it back to you?
We would love a freebie is what we'd really like.
Let me get him to the law.
It's
Yeah,
a very good thing, and we're not making one.
No, I'm Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Carly. Okay, now on to Director Hannah, planning and zoning. No first or second readings. Director, do you have anything to say? Do you want to give an update on the comprehensive plan? I'll pitch in some there because I was there.
Okay, the last comprehensive plan meeting, there was plenty of discussion at that meeting. Ms. Lori did take some notes. Actually, after the meeting, several of us talked to her. She did take some notes that, some changes that, we felt were necessary on the comprehensive plan. She's going to do some of those updates and then try and have that to the Planning Commission at least the first week of December. And then the Planning Commission, I believe she's going to come to our 12th meeting, and we will have more discussion on it at that time and see if there's any other changes that the planning commission feels should be made.
A couple of questions that were asked of Chris Lowry were, I thought I thought we hired you to do a zoning map.
And we did not hire her to do a zoning map. We hired her to do a future land use map for the county, is what Fiscal Court hired.
A comprehensive plan, a guide, something this county really needs to have updated. And I'm concerned now after hearing those questions at that meeting that we may not get our comprehensive plan updated. I'm hoping for the best.
We had a discussion at the planning commission meeting the other night about some of the areas that the commission felt could be set aside for, say, industrial use, because at this time it's not showing a whole lot of room for industrial growth in the county and for commercial businesses in the county. And a lot of that's due to where she sees that so much of the county is in a floodplain, but that is something that can be, if you work with division of water, those properties can be filled and built up out of the floodplain. So we're just still looking at what she's completed so far, and hopefully we'll be able to get some more changes made before she submits the final plan.
And thank you, Ryan. And I want to state for the record that Ford County desperately needs its comprehensive plan updated. The last time it was updated was in the 1970s.
1987, I believe.
You know what, I think it was 1997.
Well, they have to be reviewed like every so many years, but
that was
every
the-
5 years, they either have to be reviewed, they either have to be changed,
changes been made.
amended, or adopted as they have been. And so, since all that time, they just, every 5 years, they just re-adopt the
Well, they
current
have.
comprehensive plan. Well, because the county has grown and changed so much, you know, we've got a lot of, like right there at Cedar Grove Road where the industrial park is now. Our current plan says that should be medium density residential. Well, it's no longer medium density residential, so we have to show that as industrial. And we have to show where, because we have the railroad, and because we have 65, you want your industrial or commercial to be located either along those railroads so that these industrial companies can take advantage of the, say if they needed a sidetrack for their company, or you want the exits to have your commercial businesses or your industrial where they're not going through neighborhoods. And that's kind of what we're trying to look for and plan for.
And did you put it in there, that I said it definitely needs it as of this date? And I hope it does get updated. When we're working on roads for this whole county, you know, people are wanting a comprehensive plan, and I can't give it to them because we don't have one. I mean, we've got one, but it's so outdated that the powers that be who can make decisions on roads and infrastructure say to me, you need to have your comprehensive plan updated. So,
Right, and then
I'm hoping,
in order to do that infrastructure, you have to, like she said, you have to know where you want your industry, you have to know where you want your residential. And I think that's one thing she has considered in that, is the fact that we do not have a lot of infrastructure at this time. So until I think we start growing, I think once you start growing, then you can get the infrastructure. I know that's backwards, but that's the way the state looks at a lot of things.
But also, unfortunately, I think that's kind of how some of it is. But as we, as time goes by, and we're in the 21st century now, those plans are so important. I hear it in Frankfurt, I hear it at KIPTA, I hear it here when I'm meeting with folks, you gotta have a comprehensive plan. And ours is just not up. So if anybody has any influence with the planning commissioners, please talk to them and ask them to, let's get this Board County Comprehensive Plan updated so that we can get some more infrastructure in this county and take care of the folks.
Hopefully at our December 12th meeting, she'll have the plan to present to us, a completed plan. And then at that time, I believe the planning commission will go through it, see if there's any more changes that they feel should be added to that comprehensive plan.
And I know I'll put you on the spot, but this is not this is not a question to ask you, this is a question to ask the planning commission. When Chris Lowry is finished with updating the comprehensive plan, when does the planning commission intend to support it or not support it? So we know which way we're going.
I believe after they see what she gives us in December, they'll probably have some meetings to discuss it, to see if there's more that they feel like should be added or changed. And I'm hoping by February, we have a comprehensive plan.
Thank you for that date. I know you can't speak for the commissioners. I hope it doesn't take a year for the commissioners and the Chris Lowry and Associates to go back and forth on the changes they want. Yes, Linda, go ahead.
You may recall that I've made several presentations concerning the strategic planning committee. About 2 years ago when we started work, this was our #1 goal. We felt like that this needed to be done. So our strategic planning committee is very much in support of having an updated comprehensive plan, because without it, the county's going nowhere.
Absolutely, and that's what the planning commission's been working for. We've been working on this for well over a year ourselves before we even started with Chris Lowry. So, it's just a slow moving process.
Well, and our committee worked there too, and we applauded this fiscal court for actually going ahead and moving forward, because for too many years they did not. So again, I thank you, and we're very much in support of that.
And Linda, I want to thank you for publicly advocating for a land use planner for this county, or to be a liaison with the cities, however way it works. But I remember hearing you twice advocate for a land use planner.
Or for a plan. Something needs to be done. We all know that. And of course, it's up to you as to how it goes. But something needs to be done to make sure that the land is properly used and everybody knows what's going to happen. So again, thank you all for moving in that direction. Our committee is behind 100% on that.
Thank you, got here.
This may be a question I would need to ask the city sheriff as well, since what I'm getting ready to speak of is in the city. But with Park 480 walls going up, if there'll be any changes on State Road 480, 480C, because right now to get to that Park 480, if you come off the interstate, you gotta make that sharp right turn to go on 480C. And if it develops like Amazon has, especially at certain times of the year, what's going to happen to our interchange at 65 and 480 and getting vehicles back to that warehouse?
And I think that's a good question for this body, for myself, and for the city of Shepherdsville. Because all of us pay taxes, and I think all of us need to work as a team to figure out what we want to see happen before it happens.
I didn't know if y'all heard anything if the state plan is on doing anything, since that's a state road, I understand. 480C is still a state maintained road, I may be wrong, but I just don't see how it's gonna function the way it is with that business going in there.
John, you heard anything? That's in John's territory, so I haven't heard anything. Okay, thank you, Ronnie. Thank you very much.
We have you.
Yes, you may, you certainly may. All right, Judy Stiles, come on up. You're finished?
Oh, do you want me for the ordinance, right?
Well, the ordinance, you got it in the agenda.
Yeah, we want to do the first reading of the road construction ordinance.
Yeah, well, it's actually, Mr. Stivers and asked our office to amend our existing road ordinance, which is 06-14. The changes that are there, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, are in section 2, paragraph 1. It was a 16 feet, road surface must be 16 feet with a minimum right of way of 30 to make that to go to 20. And then we added paragraphs 2 and 3 in that, and I can read those. Paragraph 2 is any existing roadway must be platted and a legal description of the right of way shall be submitted to Bullock Fiscal Court and the Bullock County Road Department prior to acceptance by the county of said roadway. And number 3, the Bullock County Road Supervisor shall examine the plat and legal description of the road and right of way and make a site inspection and a depth compacted test and core test. Roadway grades more than 12% will not be permitted. Those 2 paragraphs were totally new, and the going from 16 to 20 is a greater requirement than the KRS that has been recommended by our road supervisor. So I'll read the summary, and then it'll be published in paper for the next reading.
Okay.
Ordinance 13-29, and ordinance amending 06-14, providing the minimum requirements for roadway construction within Bullock County, Kentucky, whereby the county will accept dedication for perpetual maintenance. Be it ordained by the fiscal court of the county of Bullock, Commonwealth of Kentucky, in summary. Number 1 sets forth the minimum requirements for newly constructed public roadways in Bullock County, including the posting of the bond and street design standards. Number 2 sets forth the minimum standards that must be met before a road will be accepted by Bullock County for perpetual maintenance, including the minimum acceptable width and minimum right of way. Number 3 sets forth that all previous inconsistent ordinances are hereby repealed. Number 4 sets forth that if any provision of this ordinance is deemed unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, that such provisions be deemed a separate provision and shall not affect the validity of the remaining provisions of this ordinance. Number 5 sets forth that this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication. Given first reading at the regular meeting of the Bullock County Fiscal Court on the 19th day of November 2013, and set for second reading at the regular meeting of the Bullock County Fiscal Court on the 3rd day of December 2013.
Thank you, County Attorney Hawkinson. Any questions? We'll take a vote in December. We'll have the second reading. Director Stivers, do you have anything you want to say about this ordinance?
No, these changes need to be done, because we've got a lot of issues on these roads. And the list on that paper there that we got as a road name, are the ones that can be cut in under the provision that's taken into consideration.
These roads, this list can be taken in.
And if they meet the minimum requirements in that section.
So these roads are not in the county system as it stands?
Some of them are, some of them have been cut out that was cut in years ago,
Okay.
but a lot of them haven't.
I'll get with you and find out which ones are in, which ones are out, which ones could be put in. Okay. Well, thank you, Director, for providing this information. We'll move on with it. Any questions about this?
I want to thank County Attorney's Office for helping draw this up. They've done a good job.
All right. Director Phillips of Emergency Services, good morning. You doing okay today?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. We got a couple, 3 items, 4, 5.
2. I'll leave you all alone, trying to get out of here.
Right.
Due to the ever-changing healthcare and insurance industry. You have before you today two items that I need fiscal court's approval for the county judge to sign so that we can execute these agreements with hospice. The agreements are mainly stemming from their relationship and doing business with the Medicare or the Medicaid system. Hospice is tied to the Medicare system. In order for us to receive reimbursement through hospice and their agreement with Medicare, I have to enter into an agreement with hospice. So it's my understanding that the county attorney has reviewed these.
Not the hospice, we did not get. Your email didn't have the attachment. The only one we got was Anna, and I didn't know about this till it was in the packet.
The hospice?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one we got to review. This was mentioned, but there wasn't an attachment, and I didn't get it.
Then I'll say that one until the next meeting.
Yeah.
The other,
Are you on a deadline?
no, we do very little business with hospice. We have 2 or 3 claims in holding, but if we get it done by next meeting,
We're okay.
we'll within the time frame get reimbursement.
If it's something urgent, I know the county attorney will look at
I
it.
can have Tammy do it if it's urgent.
No, 2 weeks won't hold.
And I can call a special meeting if it's urgent.
We're good.
Sounds good.
It's urgent to me, but we did review it.
Anthem is part of the new managed care. They're trying to get into the state's managed care system or Passport, WellCare, and a few of the others are backing out. Anthem, Humana, and a few of them are trying to get in and get into the Passport business. So in order for us to bill Anthem for their patients that choose to sign up with them through the state managed care system or Medicaid, we have to be a provider with them in order to receive funding. It will be part of the state Medicaid system. So I've asked him for fiscal court's approval for the judge to execute this document so that any Medicaid patient that is part of the Anthem managed care system will be able to get reimbursement for it.
If I read this one right, it only goes into effect if the cabinet is officially chosen to be the Medicare provider. And I think that decision was supposed to be made by like August 30th. Do you know if it was?
To the best of my knowledge, it has been.
Okay. Okay, that was my only thing. We can sign the contract, but I didn't want to make that.
That's a good question.
We initially, we're not going to do it because Passport has been with our region for 10 years, and they were managing all of the patients, and we didn't have to really worry about the outside companies moving into Passport. It's my understanding they've opened up this region and allowing the Medicaid patients to pick and choose out of the 4 or 5 different companies. So we have to have this signed so that it follows so many influx of bills. They have a 9-month or 6-month payment option that we have, so I wanted to get ahead of the game.
Okay, action is requested, directing me to sign this, or giving you permission to sign this, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. What's the title of it, Mike?
Managed care agreement.
Thank you.
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? This is concerning the Anthem Blue Cross document for me to sign. No questions or discussion concerning the call roll.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Bradshaw?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, and I will make sure that the deputy judge and I get the hospice up to Monica for review and then on the next agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, Director Phillips, and thank you, Director Phillips, and all of your team, the 911, the EMA, and the ambulance, all the paramedics and the police. I was hoping we wouldn't have any destruction, when was it, Sunday night, when all the storms were coming through?
Not as much as that was.
Not much what?
Not as much as that was.
Oh, hoping that we didn't have any destruction. But I was in contact with all the folks, especially Mike, and we were on top of everything, so you can rest assured that your county emergency services are very, very alert, always ready to go into action when necessary. I tell you what, when a disaster strikes, you want your folks on the ground working, you want to be safe, you want to be rescued if you have to be rescued, so my thanks go to all the first responders and all of our emergency services people. Thank you so, so much, Mike.
I will convey your,
Please do
to
so.
the employees.
Please do so. We were very blessed that we did not have any damage. To my knowledge, we did not have any damage in our county at all. And look at what happened to Indiana and Illinois. Director Hatfield. Lee J. Pauling. Good morning, Director.
Good morning. I just got two quick items. You'll remember, about 4 or 5 months ago, we started QRS recycling in all the offices. So I want to thank the judicial, the courthouse, the Mount Mooney Annex, everybody getting on board with that. We are recycling free over 400 pounds of paper, plastic, aluminum every week.
Mostly for me.
Yeah, a lot of it's shredded. That's about 1,600 pounds of recycled material that we're doing now. So I'm going to get with all the directors in the buildings, and we're going to start trying to see if we can't cut down our garbage collection, which was our main goal. Instead of doing it once a week, we'll cut it down to once every 2 weeks, and that should save us quite a bit of money in a year's time. Okay, second thing that I have if you'll remember, about 8 months ago, I put together 5 years of data from the landfill. Well, I received a phone call last week or the week before that we're 75% sure that we're going to go from the long list of stuff that we're checking for to what the state calls a short list. And instead of doing it monthly, we're going to get it quarterly. Now, I've drafted a letter engineers asked for us, and while we were arguing over that, I went ahead and slipped in something else, the leachate hauling. So that's why I've not hired anybody. I'm 75–80% sure on that, but we're going to stop that 100%. And if I can get that done, then we're looking at probably a saving of $50,000 a year. So the judge has 2 letters that she's going to sign. I have one that I'm going to sign, and we're going to get that back up there to them. But I feel I'm as close as I've ever been. So I'm going to keep pushing and shoving. Squeaky wheel gets the grease up in Frankfurt. Don't remember. So that's all I have. Other than they canceled my surgery for the 26th and moved it to the 19th of December. I'm going to have a knee replacement. So don't y'all come in, I'm going to bring me flowers. So I'll be here till the 19th. And I'll have a surgery and I should be out probably 30 days.
On the record, Hatfield, you've already been saving money on that landfill.
Yes.
I know we've been saving $10,000 or more due to, we changed the testing company
Right.
from one company to another.
Well, we saved money doing that, and we also got the wells completely 1% taken out, which was about $50,000. So we're getting it in. I'm just getting one more little thing pushed through. I think you're going to see a big drop in that.
That's
You know,
outstanding.
so that's why I'm not hiring anybody. No. Any questions?
No, we thank you very
Okay,
much
thank
for
you
your
all.
hard work. Director Rudy Hawkins, come on up. Good morning, Director.
Reason for being here is just information. We've got a multi-purpose building down the road here, and it's in a office area. Ever since we've been in it, it's not being used. The reason it's not being used is because the floors in a concave shape. And the reason that is that the floor joist going across is too wide span without being supported. We have not used this space. The space is probably 18 by 20. And it has a smaller office outset of it. And it's a lot of space going unused. And we've got some people that would like to use it. So if you're familiar with multi-purpose building, it going the front door, and the next door you're looking at leads up the steps, and that's where the office is. It was probably Pioneer News that destroyed it, so if you want to throw rocks at that. But I've had 3 different builders look at it. The cost probably will run around $3,000, maybe $3,500. What we're going to do is we're going to go in and jack up the beam and put some columns and supports underneath it, and then finish out the columns, because the room underneath it is used as a conference room, and we want to make it look as good as what we found. This is informational. I'm not asking you for the money. I just want to let you know what I'm doing. And if you like, I'll come back to you. I'll just continue on like we're going.
So you're saying you don't need the money, you've already got it in the budget somewhere?
I don't have it in the budget, but it's in the big budget.
Is this in the senior building?
Yeah, right over here. All-purpose community action agency, yeah. Have you ever been in,
I've been in it, not at the front.
yeah, when you walk in those front doors, there's a door there and it leads up to an upstairs. Big room up there.
Who's looking at us?
Well, it was
We just want to get it.
What is Toys for Tots is a little trap place.
Well, and I'm sorry, okay.
But I don't know, it's a nice big space, somebody can use.
That's all right.
It was the law library, when we were in transition between the buildings for different times.
We just see it, we're growing by leaps and bounds, and if the space is there and can be utilized with a few dollars, then we can fix it and get it prepared so it can be utilized. We don't have to build a new building. Okay. Any other questions? We're not asking for any money right now, you're just giving us a heads up, that's what you like to have done.
Is there a bathroom up there?
No, ma'am.
Will you be putting one in?
We can just, whatever you want done, man. It's just a matter of money.
Well, I was just thinking about the elderly folks.
They're not using that.
Oh, I know they're not using the upstairs. Yeah, I was just wondering about, a bathroom.
That might be something.
Because, probation and parole have talked about it, and they were upset, they were a bit antsy with them being in there, those guys coming in and all that. So I just want to make sure they wasn't going to be, coming in or anything, without having a bathroom installed.
Right. But that's something we might want to look at, just to make it completely usable up there. Oh, we don't want to upset the senior citizens. You hear that, Bob?
No, really. I'd like to have a question.
Sure.
What's the purpose, what do you need the space, what's it going to be used for?
Well, right now, as far as I know, there is no use for it, except that we've had a number of people ask us for space. Okay. And I can't find any more space to put things, people. This is not being used at all right now, and has not been used in my knowledge. To make it usable, we're going to spend about $3,000 to support it. And then, there's no problem finding somebody to use it.
No.
All we have to do is fix it for it to be used.
No.
People move in as fast.
Have you talked to Mary Wilson? She's the coordinator over there. Have you site manager? Have you talked to her about this?
No. Not to my knowledge.
I would suggest that you get in contact with her, because she's the manager and site manager for the seniors and multi-purpose over there. And she could probably help you on the finance side.
Does she have $3,000?
Oh, yeah, I just let her know what's happening. We are, aren't you all?
I think she kind of knows that we're
Yeah.
looking at that.
Is Mary Wilson aware of this?
Well, I'm rolling out the building, I don't think.
It's taken care of, the deputy judge has spoken to Mary, and if the deputy judge has spoken to Mary, then Mary is taken care of. Thank you, deputy judge.
All right.
Okay, any other questions for Director Hawkins? I suggest you move on with investigating this, see what can be done. And, like you said, Director, you're not asking for money right now. You're just planning. Planning is good thing. Okay. Any other questions for Director Hawkins? Okay, thank you, Director. Okay, let's move on down the list. Number 6. I don't see any other people here. Let's move on down. Department reports. No old business, no new business. Oh, we do have new business. Steve Carr. Steve, yes. Okay, Steve Carr, come on up. He's with AT&T to discuss the lease agreement. Oh, County property for the cell tower. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Steve Carter, representing AT&T Mobility. I came before you guys, I think it was back in August. The purpose of me coming before the board at that time was to place an inquiry with the board to determine if there would be openness to lease ground for a wireless communications facility. The response at that meeting was that there would be. My radio frequency engineers approved the location at the property that houses the dog pound. And our initial location was reviewed by people in your departments, and they asked us to move it to an area that did not affect the shale pile. So we moved it to a different location, have surveyed the property, and respectfully request the board's approval to have the judge executive sign our lease agreement. We've been in discussions with the assistant county attorney, Tammy Baker.
Judge, I can tell you why you want a lease if you want.
Sure.
The lease is pretty much standard boilerplate, but things you need to know. The rent to the county will be $800 a month for 5 years. AT&T will have a buying option. They'll pay $500 for the first year. So we hold that for them to take some action during that time. My understanding is we have no intention to use it for radio towers for any kind of emergency services. Okay. Section 11, we had some questions about, and after going to their legal and coming back, it's AT&T's position it stays. What I want you to know about that is it deals with like hazardous substance. So if AT&T gets in, starts digging around, and they come across a hazardous substance or something that has to be cleaned up, the county is on the hook completely for that cleanup. We asked if there could be a provision that would put in to just let us walk away, and that's not acceptable to AT&T because by that point they will have enough money invested in it that if they're past the point of walk away. Okay?
What's the likelihood of something like that happening?
Probably small if they've done testing of the soil, but it nonetheless, the contract tries to provide for as many issues that can possibly arise. And as soon as I said, oh, don't worry about that, and it won't happen, we don't. Okay? So it's a contingency, but I wanted you to be aware of that, okay? And they also have the permission, which is probably standard as well, to assign the lease at any time. They don't have to have our permission to do that. The terms will remain to whoever they assign that lease to. Does that make sense?
No, say it again.
Okay, so AT&T contracted with us and they put up their tower, and 2 years into it, they decide they're going to subcontract with somebody else. They can do that, and you won't even know that, okay? It won't affect the terms of the agreement, but they don't have to have your signature to do it.
Point of clarification on that, that's specifically driven behind the zoning code that you have established for the county. When I build my structure, I have to build it for myself and suitability for two other carriers. And so that is where the sublease provision comes in. And we have to have language in the agreement from a zoning perspective that makes that transaction seamless so that it minimizes tire proliferation in your county. And that is the reasoning behind it. There's also state statute that supports that language being in our lease agreements as well.
I just pointed that out to you all so you're aware of that. The only section that I thought you might have any concern is the section 11, but it is boilerplate, and I suspect it will probably be in just about everything.
Thank you, County Attorney. You're wanting action, right? You're wanting action on
Yes,
this?
ma'am. Yes.
And I'll have to sign it, no doubt.
I do have executable documents that I have with me that I can meet with the town attorney.
So it looks like Steve is meeting,
Steve,
Steve is wanting this, voted on, and then I need permission to sign it. After it's voted upon, except I want specific permission to sign it.
Mr. Stivers, do you know if has there ever been any kind of dump out in that area or no? Any possible? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but
No fuel tanks, no oil tanks, no anything in that area for 24 years and no increase. Before then, I was up in that area anyway. There's nothing ever been proved in that area. And the tree line in that area, that's in the low spot. That's going out in the tower where it's at pretty well where people can hardly see it unless you want to see inside. The tree line there shows that there has been digging because the trees are so large. So you might find marijuana happening.
well, we won't tell anybody.
All right, then.
I'm just concerned about that environmental thing because if anybody finds anything, the EPA will be in there, and we're going to get $9,600 a year off this contract. If the EPA stubs their toe, it's going to cost us more than $10,000. So the payback would be
Most of the concerns with EPA would be a fuel tank underground or any kind of barrels or something like that for the ground. None of it.
we go through a baseline environmental assessment as part of our due diligence period. Which is why the portion of this agreement is what we refer to as an option lease agreement. The option allows us our time to do our due diligence. We also have to go through the process of zoning the site as well. But we don't take any site to zoning unless we have a lease signed. We want to know that you're a partner in this deal with us. So we do our necessary due diligence. If we would go into any phase 2 scenario, we would have to get your permission to do that phase 2 investigation. And as the phase 2 is performed, if we find something in the phase 1 review process that makes us a little concerned, which requires us to do more exploratory work, you would be on board and be communicating with us prior to making that phase 2 report.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim.
I make a motion to accept the lease agreement for Singular Wireless on 480. All 480.
Deputy Judge, you like your question? No? Okay. I'll be clear.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Ms. Brandon, will you please read that motion?
Yes, the motion is to authorize the judge executive to sign an intervention agreement with Singular Wireless at 18 Mobile for the tower at on 240.
We accept this motion and do that.
That's okay. Yeah, the way Bridget has worded that is perfectly fine. Accept the agreement and then enter into the agreement and we sign it, yes. For me. Okay, any questions or discussion? And hearing none?
I'll second that motion.
We've got a motion.
Oh,
Oh, well, wait, we want to take a vote. Go ahead, yes, Ms. Brown, just want to ask you a question? Yeah.
I was just saying,
Yes, we've got a motion and a second. But do you have any questions about this document? Okay, and Ms. Brown, you may call the roll.
Ms. Adcock?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Westbrook?
yes.
Mr. Bradshaw?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Steve, anything else?
That'll be fine, thank you very much. I'll leave the documents with the county attorney.
Thank you, Steve. I have a quick announcement. I think we covered the agenda, haven't we? Do we have anything else I forgot? We're not about the, quick,
Thanks,
Oh,
Jeff.
I have a quick announcement. Oh, yes, and the jail. Jail, you come on up. Jailer Knox, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, the jail. How are you doing this morning, Jailer?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. I think we had a question for you.
Yes. Anyone else came, you explained why your AT&T mobile phone was, your bill was $497 a minute.
I have no clue why it would have been. Nothing's been any different. Nothing at all.
Okay. What do you got for us today?
This is the check of $10,146.86.
At Jailer Knox, again, this is for $10,146.86.
Yes.
And this is for,
The receivables for the month of 10/1/13, 10/31/13.
okay, thank you, so people will know.
When I left, we started yesterday afternoon at the detention center. Our maintenance man will call out to what we call the grinder, which is a big grinder that brings all our sewage out of the building. The grinder has, I don't know what you call it, it's broke. They just sent it over, I got that at 10:30. My chief just brought it over to me. Right before I came over, the road department was assisting pulling it up out of the ground. So that's the pictures that we had gotten. We are working very quickly as we can on it, because what happens is that if we don't get it fixed, it goes on down to the Shepherdsville City sewer, and it goes to their tank up, which we had done the grinder up before in the past. We're trying to prevent that. So I don't know what the cost is going to be, but it's something that we have to get on immediately. They're working as quickly as they can. It's not a fun job. Right now, they have to do it every so many hours manually. Go in, put the net in there, pull stuff out, trying to keep from going up the one in Shepherdsville City. So I don't know what the cost is going to be. I have no clue. I just know we have to get it done. So also, I came to you all before and was saying about the roof. I don't have the estimates yet. I had some, but I got to go back and re-up them. On the roof, our roof is getting so bad that we're getting buckets everywhere. And the first thing's going to happen, inmates going to see it, and they're going to try to sit up and only mop so fast. Sometimes we don't even know the leak is there. So we're trying to, so eventually we're going to have a roof. I don't know whether it will be able to get by with patching it. Last year the spike was already showing its top. But they're coming, every time we have rain, we have a bad leak. So I think we had 3 new ones on top of the ones we already had. So we're gonna have to have a group, but I will bring those estimates and do the best we can with, what we can do.
We need to probably see some bids,
Yeah. But I'll keep you updated on the grinder as much as I can.
It is what it is.
Thank you. That it?
Any questions for David at all? Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, the announcement I want to make is Thursday is a really important day for our community. Several of us will be traveling to Frankfurt to become a work-ready community in progress. And what that means is we will just be more appealing to business people and employers of those businesses. The Kentucky Workforce Investment Board will be granting us that certification. Again, we will be a work-ready community in progress. And there are several people in this room who have been working diligently on that. And if you just raise your hand, I greatly appreciate it. Tom's one of them. Anybody else? Some of the agencies involved, Tammy Ott was involved with it, the Chamber of Commerce, Multipurpose Community Action Agency. Keith Davis, the superintendent, he and I co-chaired this. So this is good news for Bullitt County. It puts Bullitt County in a really, really great, bright light, which we're already in a great, bright light. And it just makes us more appealing as far as being work ready. And of course, the second thing I want to say is our college, we continue to work on our community college. We know that education is extremely important, and the community college for Bullitt County is very, very important to me. That's it. That's all I have. Ms. Brown, Ms. Sharpie, anything else? Every judge, Ms. Brown, Magistrate Ashford, Magistrate Ashford, Magistrate Bradshaw, before we go into executive session. Okay, County Clerk Johnson, anybody else have anything out there? Because we have to go into executive session. Yes, Gary.
I just have a question. What about the presentation on the social host ordinance that was on the agenda?
Yeah, Chrissy Dawn, actually, I'll turn it over to the deputy judge because she talked to Chrissy herself.
Yeah, Chrissy couldn't be here today, so she's rescheduled for, I believe this is the first meeting in December.
Okay, thank you.
We thank you for being here, and take it away, Magistrate Bradshaw.
Yeah, make a motion to go into executive session under KRS 61.810, paragraph 1, subparagraph C, for discussions related to pending litigation by the Bullitt County Jail.
Need a second. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Ms. Brandon, will you call the roll, please?
Ms. Ashcraft? Yes. Mr. Hyde?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell? Yes. Mr. Bradshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Roberts? Yes. Motion carries.
Here a second. We have a motion and a second to go back into open session. Any questions or discussion? Ms. Brandon, you may call the roll.
Ms. Ashcraft? Yes. Mr. Hyde? Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Mr. Bradshaw?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
What is it? Well, okay.
Go check his phone.
Hold on, this particular, please, will you work with Michael, Tom, will you all just look out there and see?
He's out there.
Not
I thought he was in, I thought I saw him in the, I saw him while in the chair.
Say yes, Bob.
Mr. Hyde?
I've had some things I've had history.
Would I like to vote for regular session to reconvene?
All those tickets I got.
Say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, we just went back into open session, that's all. to adjourn. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Ms. Brown, you may call the roll.
Ms. Ashcraft? Mr. Hunt?
Yes.